Germany did not collapse into chaos because people suddenly rejected democracy. It collapsed because money stopped working, long before extremism took power. The German economy was already destroying trust, stability, and everyday life. This is how inflation broke Weimar Germany, and why economic collapse paved the way for everything that followed. When World War I ended, Germany was exhausted, defeated, and financially broken. The war had drained the country's resources, destroyed its industrial output, and left the government drowning in debt. To finance the war, Germany had borrowed heavily instead of raising taxes, assuming victory would make repayment easy. Defeat changed everything. Under the Treaty of Versailles, Germany was forced to accept responsibility for the war and pay enormous reparations to the Allies. These payments were not just symbolic. They were massive financial obligations demanded in foreign currency or gold, resources Germany did not have from the very beginning. The German state faced an impossible problem. Its economy was weak, its tax base was limited, its currency was fragile. Yet it was expected to make payments that exceeded its capacity to pay. Instead of restructuring the system, the government chose the fastest and most dangerous solution. It printed money. At first, this seemed harmless. Printing money allowed the government to pay wages, cover debts, and keep society functioning. Prices rose slowly, but life continued. Many believed inflation was temporary and manageable. But inflation feeds on confidence. As more money entered circulation without corresponding economic growth, prices rose faster. Businesses raised prices to protect themselves. Workers demanded higher wages. The government printed even more money to meet rising costs. This created a feedback loop. The value of the German mark began to fall. Imports became more expensive. Savings lost purchasing power. Trust in money weakened. Then the situation spiraled out of control. By the early 1920s, inflation turned into hyperinflation. Prices didn't rise monthly or weekly. They rose daily, sometimes hourly. Banknotes became almost worthless as soon as they were printed. Workers were paid twice a day, so they could rush out and spend money before it lost value. Families burned banknotes as fuel because paper money was cheaper than firewood. Savings accumulated over a lifetime became meaningless. The economy stopped functioning as an economy. Money, which exists only because people believe in it, lost its credibility. Contracts became impossible to enforce. Long-term planning vanished. Trust collapsed. But the most important damage wasn't economic. It was psychological. The German middle class was destroyed. These were not wealthy elites. They were teachers, shop owners, civil servants, professionals, people who believed in stability, order, and institutions. Inflation wiped out their savings and shattered their sense of security. Hard work no longer guaranteed survival. Obedience no longer guaranteed safety. The system they trusted had betrayed them. This loss of trust had permanent consequences. People didn't just lose money. They lost faith in democracy, government, and fairness. When money collapses, institutions collapse with it. Meanwhile, those who could exploit inflation thrived. Debtors benefited as loans became worthless. Speculators profited from chaos. Those with access to foreign currency or hard assets survived. This created resentment and anger. Inflation didn't just make people poorer. It made society feel unjust. The Weimar government struggled to respond. Political leaders were divided, weak, and blamed for a crisis they seemed unable to control. Every attempt to fix the problem came too late or felt illegitimate. By the time inflation was finally stopped, the damage was already done. A new currency stabilized prices. The economy temporarily recovered, but trust did not return. The memory of inflation lingered deeply in German society. People learned a dangerous lesson. Democracy could fail, money could lie, institutions could collapse overnight. This trauma shaped everything that followed. When the Great Depression hit years later, Germany was uniquely vulnerable. The economy collapsed again. Unemployment soared. Businesses failed. Fear returned. But this time, people remembered inflation. They remembered how quickly stability vanished. They remembered who they blamed. They were no longer willing to trust gradual solutions or moderate leadership. Extremist movements didn't rise because people suddenly changed their values. They rose because economic collapse had already destroyed confidence in the system. Inflation didn't cause radicalism by itself. It prepared the ground for it. The lesson of Weimar Germany is not just about money supply or prices. It's about trust. An economy works because people believe that money will hold value, that contracts will be honored, that effort will be rewarded, that tomorrow will resemble today. Hyperinflation shattered all of that. Once trust is gone, rebuilding it is far harder than printing money or changing policy. Economic collapse leaves scars. that lasts for generations. This is why Germany remains deeply sensitive to inflation even today. The fear is not theoretical, it is historical memory. Weimar Germany didn't fall because democracy was weak by nature. It fell because economic collapse made democracy impossible to defend. Inflation broke the economy. The broken economy broke trust, and broken trust broke the state. That is how inflation destroyed Weimar Germany, and why. Economic stability matters more than ideology when history is on the line.